You good, Jet? Detective Engelman paused before opening the door to the interrogation booth. It can get pretty rough talking to a guy like that, especially if you're not used to it. Adam gave a simple nod. Hey, don't forget, I've seen my share of criminal interviews before, remember? During my time in the district attorney's office. Oh, that's right. I forgot you worked with him for a while. Well, are you ready? Adam nodded, thankful the small talk was at an end. Engelman opened the door, and the two of them stepped inside the small room. Adam looked briefly at the two-way mirror that made up one of the walls. Then he turned his eyes onto the handcuffed man sitting silently at the table. Anger swelled up inside him, but he kept his composure and the expression of Jet Phoenix on. Afternoon, Marco. The detective's voice did little to hide his distaste. This is Mr. Phoenix. He gestured to Adam. He's got a few questions about the science behind your little ice-capades. Marco eyed Adam as he and the detective took their seats at the table. What do you know about science? He asked with a condescending air. I know what I need to ask you, Adam stated, sticking tightly to his role. I've been given a list of questions from the hospital staff. He pulled out a pen and a small stack of papers from his briefcase. Shall we get started? Marco rolled his eyes. Do you really expect me to just tell you all of my secrets? Besides, you clearly didn't put this much effort into getting me out of that ice block. What's got you nervous now? Well, according to reports, your body looked different, like it hadn't truly been frozen in the ice, just trapped. Adam looked up from the papers. Sounds to me like they took a calculated risk. Marco was silent. Engelman glared at him. You've admitted to being the sculptor, Marco. Now, if there's any chance those people can be saved, it's good for everybody. Unfortunately, that includes you. So I suggest you help us out. Help you? Marco leaned forward. And who is going to help me, detective? I came up with that formula myself. His eyes filled with irritation. And I'm not about to announce it to the world. You wouldn't be announcing it to the world, just downtown. Adam clicked his pen. So, what sort of chemicals did you use to freeze those people? You two idiots couldn't possibly understand. Try me. Engelman prodded. I did all right in school. Marco let out a sigh. I mean, he hissed, eyes darkening, that my silence is the only thing keeping me alive right now, and I'm not ready to throw that away on account of some smelly vagabonds who are all likely to die of exposure anyway. And what about Kathleen Maple? Engelman's tone was a little too calm. I understand the two of you were close. How do you imagine she was likely to die? Adam noted the sudden but brief changes in Engelman's voice and in Marco's body language. At the mention of Kathy, his villainous mix of rage and apathy was replaced with a fleeting look of regret. A few seconds of silence passed between the three men. Adam clicked his pen, bringing attention back to the hospital. If you could just tell us if there's an antidote, or maybe even how you protected yourself, that'd be great. Marco glowered at him. What part of I'm not talking do you not get? Adam clicked his pen again. Detective Engelman yawned and gave his neck a little stretch. It looks like today's going to be a long one, he mused to Adam. I'm going to grab a cup of coffee. You want anything? I'm okay for now, Adam answered him. All right, I'll be back in a minute. He turned his attention back to Marco. I recommend you answer his questions. I promise neither one of us wants to look at you any longer than necessary. With a nod to Adam, Engelman left the interrogation room. So, Mr. Phoenix, Marco smirked once the two of them were alone. This must be quite the experience for you. Tell me, how does it feel to be the dumbest person in the room? I wouldn't know, Adam stated, knowing just how annoyed his response would make the criminal. I think I should probably ask the questions for now, though. He continued. Should we start with number 1? Marco's indignation grew as Adam read robotically from his list of questions. Each one was followed by a near-palpable silence, but Adam didn't care. He hadn't expected this interview to be easy. A minute or two into his questions, Adam heard a small tap from behind the mirror. It was barely audible and irrelevant to anyone who wasn't listening for it. "You know, I think I could use a coffee." Adam got up and left the room, clicking his pen as he closed the door behind him. Seconds later, the lights in the interrogation room flickered and went out. "What the?" Marco was caught off guard by the sudden darkness. A rustling sound had him searching the room with his eyes, but it was no use in the pitch black. "What's the problem? Don't like the dark?" A deep voice questioned from within the darkness. "What?" Marco barely hid apprehension in his voice. "What kind of game are you playing, Phoenix?" "Pretty boy's not here, remember? It's just you and me." The voice came from behind Marco and gradually moved around in the blackness. "And this isn't a game. It's an interrogation." Marco gulped. "You don't seem to want to answer their questions, but maybe you'll answer mine." The auxiliary lights flickered on, and Marco found himself face to face with a barely lit blue shadow. And though his eyes were mostly hidden by the mask, their anger and determination were unmistakable. "How did you—" Marco was dumbfounded. "I'm asking the questions here," Blue stated, satisfied to see the smirk on the criminal's face had finally faded. "Now, tell me what you used to freeze your victims, and how is it that you're still alive?" Marco was silent. Now it was Blue's turn to smirk. "What's the matter? You were a lot more talkative a few nights ago, when you tried to kill me." Marco's expression changed. "I could hear every word you said that night, Marco." Blue let the name linger in the air before finishing. He wanted this man to be fully aware that he knew exactly who he was. "So, cryoserum, oxygenation, how about we start right there?" "You wouldn't understand." Marco's confidence was beginning to return. Blue wasn't going to allow that. "Try me," he goaded. "It can't be that hard to grasp if you came up with it." Marco's eyes narrowed. "It's a delicate science. Everything had to be just right." "And what is everything?" I can't tell you." "Why? Are you afraid of Hrax, or just too much of a coward to fully stand behind your work?" "Hrax? Why on earth would I be worried about some lousy politician?" Blue ignored the question, though he did find it interesting that Marco seemingly was unaware of Hrax's true identity. "Never mind. Tell me how the thawing works." Marco's expression steeled. "No." "No?" Blue leaned close to Marco's ear so he could hear the full strength of his irritation. "No doesn't help you, sculptor. You've been caught. You're done. No just solidifies the fact that you will rot in prison, alone, with your guilty conscience for the rest of your life. And if we're lucky, someone will grow a spine in the government and have you executed." Blue stood back up to his full height. "Now talk." "No," Marco said again. "How can you justify that answer?" Blue's voice almost slipped into genuine curiosity. "You lost, Marco. It's over. Just admit that. You can help these people. I know you kept them alive." "You blame yourself, don't you?" Marco let the words leak out like venom. "You should never have asked her to help you investigate him." "Him?" No answer. Marco's silence was enraging. Blue stayed as calm as he could, but time was running out for his interrogation. "Tell me how to save her!" "I did save her." Blue was shaken by the statement. "What?" "The man I worked for, my patron." Marco's tone lacked its usual arrogance. "Is just getting started. My work, what I did, that was just to get the public's attention. You have no idea what he's planning for this city. I saved Kathy from having to see it." "What's he planning? Who is he?" "Mayhem." The one word answered both questions. Finally, there was outside confirmation that Mayhem was trying to make a comeback. The police had to believe it now that they had an eyewitness. But Blue couldn't focus on that now. He needed answers, and his plan to intimidate them out of Marco wasn't appearing to work. Marco spoke up after a moment, this time sounding almost defeated.
All I had left to do was to kill you,
he said almost to himself.
Then she would have been spared.
Spared?
He couldn't care less if she lives or dies. You're the one he needs out of the picture. With the blue shadow gone, there'd be nobody to stand in his way.
Is that really what you want?
It doesn't matter what I want.
Then what about Kathy? Blue said, hoping to appeal to any small amount of decency Marco had left in him. Do you care what she might have wanted? Because I guarantee it isn't to be stuck in a block of ice for the rest of her life. A low tapping noise caught Blue's ear. He was out of time. Marco had refused to divulge any real information, but at least now he seemed slightly less defiant, which could be a possible help to the detective. I want you to know something, Marco, Blue said, looking him right in the eyes. Mayhem can be stopped. Maybe not soon, maybe not even by me, but he will be stopped. And I think you and I both know that Kathy deserves a chance to see that happen. The auxiliary lights flickered a few times before going out completely, leaving Marco once again in pure darkness. Oh yeah, and one more thing. And at that, Marco was suddenly yanked to his feet, and a fist slammed into his gut so hard it threatened to send him under. He was dropped back into his chair. After about a minute, the door to the room opened. Detective Engelman's voice filled the room as he flicked on the light switch. Sorry about the lights, he said. Guess subconsciously Phoenix didn't want to waste electricity on you. Marco's eyes adjusted to the light as the man walked back to his seat holding a cup of coffee. Hopefully that little bit of alone time got you into more of a talkative mood, Engelman said as he sat back down. So, he slid the steaming cup in Marco's direction. Let's try this again, shall we?
Where's Phoenix?
You didn't talk, so there goes his influence on your behalf. Now it gets worse for you. Marco gulped. What, are you scared of the dark or something? Engelman noted as he looked at the strained look on Marco's face.